Good morning, everyone. It's so good to be here with you. Reverend Mike, who is normally here on Sunday, is not here today. He's in prison, actually, so. But he's just visiting. He'll be back out this afternoon. He's doing his prison ministry, and so we wish him well today. But we're going to have a great time today. You know, we're celebrating a couple people's birthdays today. I wonder who that could be. I have a birthday, and Lisa has a birthday. Does anybody else have a birthday this week? No. Well, I guess it's our birthday cake that we're going to be enjoying this week. Nancy Johnson's birthday is this week. Very good. Well, yesterday, okay. So we'll honor Nancy Johnson also. In fact, she's probably watching right now. So Nancy, if you want a piece of birthday cake, you got to come down and get it. So anyway, good morning, everyone. We're here at Ahiah Center for Spiritual Living in downtown Pasadena. It's so great to be both here live and also live streaming. And so I'd like to start us off this morning with a couple of thank yous to the people who make it possible to have this Sunday celebration. I want to start with our music team, starting with Chris Glick, our music director. We also have Leon on bass and Brian on drums. And then our guest singer for today, you can listen to her every single first Sunday of the month, or just about everyone, is Tina Meeks. Thank you, Tina. We also have a few people here that are helping us to put on the Sunday celebration. We have Harris in the back, what do you call yourself, Harris, back there? What does Reverend Mike call you? Oh, that's it, a technical director, yes, and he absolutely is. He gets us all on live stream and helps us to do all the things that we're doing. We also have Frederick in the sound booth. Thank you, Frederick. And I see Sandra and Dorothy back there. They're going to be doing our greeting and our offering. And we also have a couple of our board of trustees here. We got Jackie and Myrna here today, and Deborah Glick also. So let's say thank you to them. And so why don't we go ahead and get started this morning, and I'm going to go ahead and ask Tina to come on up. She's going to lead us in our congregational song. So if you guys would like to stand up, and we'll all sing it together. The lyrics are here on the screen.
I surrender, I am one in the Spirit all around me. I surrender, I trust in God. I'm thankful, so thankful. I am one in the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm one in the Spirit all around me. Thankful, I'm so grateful. Oh, I trust in God. I trust in God, yes. I trust in God. One more time. I trust in God. Yeah.
Thank you, Tina. And thank you, everybody, for joining in on that. And so now it's time for us to just kind of relax into our music meditation that's been created by Gabriel for us. And so if we want to just take a nice deep breath in, just let it all out as the video reminds us of who we are.
If I could be you and you could be me for just 1 hour, if we could find a way to get inside each other's mind, if you could see you through my eyes instead of your ego, then you would be surprised to see that you've been blind. Walk a mile in my shoes, walk a mile in my shoes, before you abuse, criticize and accuse. Just walk a mile in my shoes. Now your whole world you see around you is just a reflection, and the law of the common says you gonna reap just what you sow. So unless you live the life of total perfection, then you better be careful of every stone that you should throw. Though I may be common people, I'm still your brother. And when you strike out and try to hurt me, it's hurting you. Walk a mile in my shoes. Come on and walk a mile in my shoes. Before you abuse, criticize and accuse, just walk a mile in my shoes. Come on, walk a mile in my shoes. Just walk a mile in my shoes. Before you abuse, criticize and accuse, just walk a mile in my shoes.
Thank you, Gabriel, for that video. And so our practitioner today, who has already done our meditation this morning, and I hope she has a voice after 108 chants of Ernest Holmes' saying, but is Kelly Metcalf. There we go.
Oh, good morning. It's so odd for me to have clapping with prayer, but let's just pray. There is one, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent Creator. It is the source and resource of all life. Everything that is, everything that ever has been, everything that is yet to be. So that includes each and every one of us. Always has and always will, both individually and collectively. So since this one is love and peace and joy and power and wisdom, I know that means that each one of us is joy and peace and power and wisdom. So I claim that this time together this morning is sacred and holy. It is a time of remembering the truth of who we are. It is a time of rejuvenation and revitalization and community and love, so that we leave here uplifted. We leave here better for our participation, so that we go out into the world and make it a better place for all. So I bless Reverend Scott. I bless the musicians. I bless all those that had anything to do with bringing it together right now and in the past, those that built this beautiful building that we gather in. All are blessed and sacred and holy. And I trust that we are blessed by our presence, and we are a blessing because we are here. For that, I'm ever so very, very, very grateful. And I release my word to the law that makes it so. And so it is. Amen. And amen. Good morning. I appreciate the appreciation. It just seems funny to clap for prayer to me. So here I have a reading for you from 365 by Ernest Holmes. It's from a few weeks ago. Love is the essence of my being. Let us love not in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. That's from 1 John 3:18. Since God is love, and love is all in all, bless you. I'll start over. Since God is love, and God is all in all, and healing Reverend Scott right now of that sneezing, love must be the underlying principle of life, and therefore in all. This life is my life. This love is me. It is the very essence of my being. Love heals everything, every imperfection of mind or body or environment. Love alone may overcome hatred, anger, envy, and criticism. Where love is, there is no room for any negative emotion. Love is the great adjuster. I just love that. Love is the great adjuster. I know that love is harmony and peace and joy. In it is all good, all that is true, all that is beautiful. It is perfect balance, perfect poise. I empty my mind and heart of all but love. I let love express in me and through me. I let love flow out into my world of thought and action. I am love. The love in me shines forth as harmony, peace, joy, freedom, and wisdom. Love binds me to the whole of creation. I find fulfillment through loving. Namaste.
Thank you, Kelly. And so I'd like to go ahead and ask Tina to come on up. And while she's coming up, we can, each of us just turn to the people next to us. We don't have to hug or anything. We can just say, wave, say hi, give a nice Ahiah warm welcome to the people around you. And I will wave to the folks who are online. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. And so, Tina, go ahead and take it away.
Okay. Why should I feel discouraged? And why should the shadows come? And why Why should my heart feel lonely and long for heaven and home, when spirit is my portion? A constant friend indeed. God's eye is on the sparrow, and I know God is watching over me. God's eye is on the sparrow, and I know God is watching over me. Let not your heart be troubled. His tender voice I hear, resting on God's goodness. I lose all my doubts and my fear, though by the path He leadeth, only one step at a time I can see. God's eye is on the sparrow, and I know God is watching over me. Hey, His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches over me. Let's go to the chorus. That's why I sing, because I'm happy. That's why I'm singing right here, because I know I'm free. If you know it, His eye, how do you know? His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He's watching over me. One more time. That's why I sing, chorus, because I'm happy. That's why I sing, because I'm free. Yeah, yeah. His eyes on the sparrow,
Yes, yes, yes. What a great message that is, too, and so beautifully sung. Thank you, Tina. And so, here we are. It's March. Isn't that sweet? March is already here. You know, I know it's March because my birthday's this week, right? Yeah, thank you. But, you know, since we're in a new month, what that means is we have a new theme, and our new theme is Cultivating Authenticity. And so with this new theme, we start to explore this idea of cultivating and authenticity. You know, we did back in the prosperity program, our Awakening Abundant Living program that we had in October, November, we talked a lot about cultivating. So I won't talk so much about that, but we just remember that what we do here in life is we plant these seeds through our thoughts, our feelings, our intentions, our beliefs, our values. All of that gets planted in the one mind that God is, and then we create from that. And that is, those ideas are reflected back into our life. That's what we believe. But what does this term authenticity mean? Well, I had to go look that up. And so I went to authentic, because if you look up authenticity, it just says you're authentic, right? But authentic means genuine is one of the terms that was put against it. And then I thought, well, what is genuine? And so rather than looking at what it is, I decided to go look at the antonyms, the opposites of the word, because sometimes that's an easier way of kind of really focusing in on what a word means, is to look at what it doesn't mean. And so some of the words that it doesn't mean, genuine, the opposite of genuine is dubious and questionable and uncertain and unsure. And I don't think any of us woke up this morning and said, today I want to be dubious, right? But we might think, today I want to be genuine. And so, you know, if we try out another meaning of that, because, you know, the thought is, well, what am I being genuine of? Am I being a genuine liar, a genuine cheat, a genuine thief, a genuine scoundrel? You know, no, we don't want to be that. So what would we want to be genuine? Well, another meaning of authentic is faithfully resembles an original. So then what is the original that we want to resemble? I think, to me, the answer for that is we want to, you know, look at that original that we are deep down inside of us. That original, of course, is our soul, that individualized expression of the divine that each and every one of us is. And we're all individual, and we all have individual characteristics and traits that make us who we are. And when we really get in and understand that and be authentic to that, then we're cultivating our authenticity. When we are authentically who we came here to be, we are cultivating our authenticity. So instead, sometimes, though, we try to be what others admire. There's a picture of the Mona Lisa showing up on the screen here. And and it's got all these people looking at it, which I've never been to the Louvre. I haven't seen the Mona Lisa personally, but I understand that there's always a crowd in front of the Mona Lisa. And so sometimes, you know, people try to be what they admire. Can you imagine if we all tried to smile like the Mona Lisa? Try that with me, you know. I don't know what I look like. But that's the point, isn't it? The Mona Lisa gets to be the Mona Lisa because she's authentic to herself. When we try and look like the Mona Lisa, act like the Mona Lisa, it doesn't work, does it? So, you know, name a few traits for you that, are yours. For me, it's, smart, friendly, caring. Brent, what? Self-respect is an important trait for Brent. What about you guys? Tina? Joyful for Tina, Kind. You're kind. I'm not sure who said that one. Loving, Enthusiastic, yeah. Action. Oh, compassion, yeah. Appreciation. We all are these individualized expressions of the divine. We get to celebrate that by being who we came here to be. I'll be talking some more about that in a few minutes. But I want to remind you that right now we are in week 6 of the Seasons for Nonviolence. And so, as I've been doing the last 5 weeks, I've brought you a slide here that is off the Season Nonviolence website, where they put a theme for the week and then a daily theme that helps move that theme forward. So this week's theme, it says on here, is to require others to change for us to be more peaceful does violence to us both. By choosing to be peaceful in relationships, we invite others to be nonviolent in return. And so we're choosing to be peaceful ourselves, right? Not requiring everybody around us to be peaceful, but we'll be peaceful, and then because we are peaceful, more peace is created in the world around us. And so there are words here that are going with the daily themes. I think these are great words to remember. Mindfulness. When I am being mindful, I am naturally more peaceful. I'm aware of my intentions. And graciousness, kindness, dialogue. When we dialogue with people, we understand them, and so we can be more peaceful with them. Unity versus division, of course. Openness and accountability. These are all wonderful words to remember to practice ourselves so that we can be more at peace. So I want to go ahead and ask Kelly to come on up. She's going to tell us a little bit about what she knows about our theme. So thank you, Kelly.
So the funny thing is, in the name of authenticity, every morning I walk my dog, and I do different chants like the one I did this morning. And one of them that I do is, today I partner with the divine to expand, and I have all sorts of things that go after it. And one of them is to expand in contribution, connection, and courage. And so here I am. So I offer that to all of you. So today's topic is everybody else is taken. So what that says to me is that we're all unique. When I was a little girl, I grew up in the Midwest, and we had a lot of snow. So all this weather that's been happening, the thing that was shocking to me, like I can still remember when I heard this, was that every snowflake was unique. It's like, all those snowflakes, how is that possible? There's billions of them. I don't even know if I knew the word billions. I was so little. But it was like, how could that be possible? So I researched it to make sure I was telling you the truth, and it's the truth. And they must be 6-pointed. Sometimes they're double, they're 12-pointed, and sometimes they're half, they're 3-pointed. But they're never 5 or 8. And they're always different. So if a tiny little snowflake is always different, then how about us? So, we all pretty much have bodies and legs, and, we're blessed with 2 legs and 2 arms and a head and ears. And years ago, I went to see a exhibit that traveled the country, maybe the world, about bodies. And it was really very interesting and also kind of creepy. They took dead people and dipped them in plastic so we could look at them. And it was amazing. Ears are what got my attention. There are so many different shapes to ears. There's big ears, there's little ears, there's pointed ears. And if that on the outside is so different, what about on the inside? it's so easy to dismiss it and say, well, I'm just one person, everybody's the same. No, 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 we're really not. We're all really very unique, magnificent representations. And we may or may not give ourselves credit for that. And so that's my invitation, is that we do. And, you know, I imagine there's probably a few of you besides me in the audience that were raised with the don't be too big for your britches. So I'm going to suggest that we do be too big for our britches. Not in a boastful way, not in an egotistical way, not in a I'm better than you way at all, but in a I have this wonderful talent. I mean, Tina has a wonderful talent. The musicians have wonderful talent. There is no denying that. We just witnessed it. I might not have that talent. I mean, I love to sing, but I'm not going to do that to you. So we all have talents, and sometimes we recognize them and sometimes we don't. And, you know, the not big enough, too big for your britches thing says don't give yourself credit for anything. Yes, give yourself credit. We all have something that we do. It might not be Einstein. It might not be the Wright brothers creating airplanes. It might not be whoever created the internet and changed the world. But we all have our talents just the same. So whatever it is, notice. Give yourself credit. Look yourself in the eye and say, hey, I did a good job. Hey, I'm good at this. You know what? I could do that better than them, but I'm not going to say that to them. I'm just going to go ahead and, you know, gently guide that way and let them guide me that way. Because there's things we all have, you know, when you think of authenticity, there's a dark side and there's a light side. We all have places we're not so good. And we're never going to be. You know, it's if we can work it, it's not our talent. And then we have other things that, you know, it just comes so naturally, we don't know it's a talent. Many members of my family draw. They draw so beautifully, and I try to sit and draw with them. And, you know, I could try all week long and never come up with the beautiful creativity that they come with. And that's okay. That's their talent. It's not mine. I have other things that I do. You know, a few weeks ago, there was a bake sale here, and I missed it, but I understand that Angela brought her magic bars, is that what they're called, magic bars? And if Angela gives you the recipe, yours aren't going to be as good as hers. That I've been clearly told that's one of Angela's talents. She makes these magnificent magic bars that are delicious and decadent and oh so much fun. And I know Angela has lots of other talents also. She's really good with numbers. Some of us are really good with numbers. Some of us aren't. You know, so what? There's someone else can do it for us. So I have, I see Deborah's looking at her watch, so I'm paying attention. So the last couple of weeks, I've been coming across all these sayings. I've been taking pictures of them. And one was from Aesop. I was so surprised. From Aesop Fables. No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. So I offer to you, no act of kindness, especially to ourselves, is ever wasted. Because when we are kind and loving in here, we can be kind and loving out there. When we're full of judgment and criticism and I should have this and I should have that, then guess what? That's what we're doing out there. They should have this and they should have that. So when we fill our cup with love and appreciation, then we have more to give to others. It's really pretty simple. I wish I would have gotten it with the snowflakes, but it took me a lot longer to realize that I have my unique skills and that I can appreciate them and love them, and it's not bad for the world for me to do that. That when I am more gracious with myself, I'm more gracious with others. Does that make sense? So I think that there's a whole ton more that I could say, but you know, and some of our things come so totally naturally, and some of them we have to work at. But and you know, some of us were told, oh, go get a real job. It's like, I don't want a real job, you know. I'm not good at that 9-to-5 thing. So some of it we have to work at to strengthen it, and some of it just comes automatically wonderfully, and we can just let it blossom and let it bless the world with it. You know, Jesus said, love thy neighbor as thyself. He didn't say instead of yourself. You know, so So I'm going to close with this funny little thing I saw the other day. And, I've been told that we learn things two ways. One, by repetition. And, I, for one, I know sometimes I have to think over and over and over and over and over before I get it. And sometimes we learn from emotional involvement. So I'm going to offer you this funny little riddle to hopefully it'll get that emotional involvement going for you. It's advice from a pickle. Life can be hard. Just deal with it. Relish every moment you share with those you love. The door to happiness is always ajar. If you want life to be sweet, you have to know what sour tastes like too. So I just invite you to love yourself, honor all your parts, the sour parts, the sweet parts, and let yourself blossom in joy. Namaste.
Thank you. Well, I'll just figure out how to deal with it. Yes. Thank you, Kelly. So I'm getting a pickle out of my mind. So this week, the talk title is, as Kelly has mentioned, is Everyone Else Is Already Taken. And, I think that we recognize that, we realize that, we understand that we're over here and everybody else is over there. But sometimes I think that it's just hard for us to be ourselves in this world today. We are pushed from every direction to be something that we're not. We're told that we need to be thinner, we need to look younger. And depending on which side of the political spectrum you're on, you're supposed to either be woke or awoke or awake, maybe. Except for both words mean the same thing. And so it's confusing, and we get pushed in all these directions, and our originality somehow gets smothered in all of that activity. And so this idea, this month of cultivating authenticity is, as Kelly has said, is really to go in and to look at where are we, these unique individualized expressions of the divine. How do I bring out more of who I am? Ernest Holmes, the founder of this philosophy, said it this way. He said, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. This isn't something that's new. He died in 1960. This is something that has always been in our culture, to push us to be something else. So the question is how can I be? How can you be yourself? And so, in other words, how do we cultivate authenticity more and more in our lives? And earlier I said that genuine equals our genuine self equals our soul. And so let's think about that a little bit. And let's explore a couple of ways for us to be more genuine. So one of the ways that I think that we can be more genuine is if we understand our values and beliefs. That's really important because according to our philosophy, what we teach is our values and our beliefs get reflected back into our lives. It creates our life. And so it is really important for us to understand that. Now, Brené Brown, who's just a very prolific writer, and she's really one of the great spokeswomen of today. And by the way, this month is Women's Month, right? And so, we recognize Brené with her unique abilities to communicate out into the world. And what she says is values are the guiding principles that help us make decisions about what matters most in our lives. They are the foundation of our identity, our purpose, and our direction. Reflecting on your values is a critical step in creating a life that is authentic, meaningful, and fulfilling. There's that word, authentic, once again. So sometimes our actions are not in alignment with our values. We need to know that. We need to understand that. When that happens, what happens to us is we have something that's called a cognitive dissonance. Chris, could you come up and just play a dissonant chord for me? This is what's going on in your mind when cognitive dissonance happens. Yeah, that one, right? Let's do that one more time, Chris. Yeah, so that's what hits your mind when you have something that you believe over here and you do something that is not that, something different than that. For example, our founding fathers, they wrote wonderful words that I think that they really did believe. Words like all men are created equal. And yet at the same time, they owned slaves. That sound must, go ahead, hit it again. Yeah, that sound must have been in their head. It really had to have been in their head. Another thing is, in this day of worrying, maybe worrying's the wrong word, but distinguishing our actions and what are good for the earth, many of us have decided that we want to be good stewards of the planet. And yet we don't always do things that are being good stewards of the planet. Cars that are too big, lawns that drink too much water, plastic bottles that go into the ocean. So, we get a cognitive dissonance in our mind. Thank you, Chris. And when we feel that, when we get that feeling, what we need to do is we need to be aware of it. Because first of all, we want to be authentic. We want our actions in alignment with our values. But another thing that this does is it helps us to understand what our values are. Sometimes we don't really understand what we value until we hear and feel that cognitive dissonance in us. And if we pay attention, if we are, my favorite capital A word, awareness, right? When we're aware of that cognitive dissonance showing up, then it can tell us what we truly believe in the situation. Number 2 is to be honest with yourself. And how can we be dishonest with ourselves? It's us, ourself, right? Well, unfortunately, it's true. We do have a habit of being dishonest with ourselves, and we do it in a number of ways. One way is called rationalism. So it goes like this. I'm just too busy today to go to the gym, right? And yet, I go home, put my feet up, and watch TV. Or another way that we are not honest with ourselves is we allow ourselves to have all the sources of our information confirm the biases that we already have. So an example of that is watching whichever channel of TV, the news that you prefer, that already agrees with what you are thinking, what you're feeling, what you're believing. Instead of, shopping around a little bit, listening to what the other sides are saying. And this one is my favorite one, projection, where I project onto other people what's actually going on inside of myself. And you might be thinking, what's the Rev talking about now? Well, let me give you a couple examples. One is where we tell ourselves something is true for you that's actually true for me. Here's an example. That's what that means, projection. That's what that means. they are being so selfish. Right? We'll say that about somebody else, and yet in reality, it's true about me in that moment. Or something like, they're just lying to themselves. And yet it's myself that I'm lying to. Or, why are they so mean? And in reality, in that moment, I'm not at peace. I'm angry. I'm being mean. You know, we had a president that was real good at this, very, very public about it. Getting to project what is going on in here, out there. It's a way of not being authentic. And so when we are being authentic, we want to be impeccable with our words. Does anybody remember where that phrase comes from? The Four Agreements, yeah. Don Miguel Ruiz, he wrote the Four Agreements. He says to be impeccable with your words, say what you mean, do what you say, and you have to understand. We have to understand ourselves in order to do that, right? If I'm going to be impeccable with my word, I need to understand me. I need to understand why. What am I thinking? Why am I thinking it right now? What do I believe? What are my values? And so he says to use your words to uplift and inspire others. And in order to do that, you need to avoid a couple of things. Well, a few things, actually. I'll give you 3. Avoid gossiping. Right? If we want to inspire other people, let's not gossip about other people. And speaking negatively about yourself or others is another thing that we want to avoid. And last of all, avoid using your words to harm or manipulate. And so we want to be impeccable with our words from a place of love, from a place of inspiration, from a place of understanding who we are and allowing other people to be who they are. Now, you know, one of the things I recognize is that many people are not really sure who they are. I talk to a lot of people, and a lot of people come and ask me, you know, I don't really understand who I am. I don't understand what my gifts are. I don't understand the meaning of the universe. I don't understand why am I here. You tell me I'm an individualized expression of the divine. Well, why? What? How? And I think in general there's kind of this existential, you know, problem that we have in this country and beyond, that we don't really understand who we are and why we're here. I think, you know, hundreds of years ago, it was easier to understand what your little box was in the universe. And maybe that was too restrictive a box. And I'm not saying that we want to close the box down. I'm just saying that as we have opened the box wide, we need to have the skills to actually understand ourselves in that greater, larger, freer context. And so, you know, one of the things that I remember from my own life, you know, that I can see in my own life is that this ability, this willingness to try to be like other people kind of muddled my understanding of myself. My mother, she used to say, you can be anything you want to be. I'm still amazed that my mom said that, because nothing else that she said ever was, you know, along the lines of this philosophy, but she would say that over and over and over again. You can be anything you want to be. Now, as Kelly mentioned earlier in her Power Talk, you know, some things that we might want to be don't really fall into our gifts. And so they're harder for us to do, but I really believe that we can always improve if we want to. Having said that, I think the better thing to do is to follow our gifts. I'm going to talk about that in a second. When I look back at my life, I had that strong understanding, that strong feeling given to me by my mother of I can be anything I want to be. What she forgot to tell me is that everybody else is already taken, right? She didn't tell me that part. She didn't go tell me what you need to do is you need to find out who uniquely you are and be that person. And you can be anything you want to be, but really being that person is what we want to do. It's going to be what brings us the most joy in our lives. Now, I got pretty fortunate in life in that when I was out there trying to be everybody else, at least I picked the people who were successful, you know? I had a friend when I was in college. When I first went to college, I wanted to be, well, actually, when we go back a little farther, when I wanted to be in high school was a nuclear engineer. I don't know why. I just had this idea that that was something special. And then I got into college, and I remembered that I had loved biology in high school. And so my first semester in college, I signed up for biology classes. And I was going to be a marine biologist and do some marine engineering, some engineering also to support it. Lovely idea until I got into that biology class, and I learned exactly how much memorization is involved. And I'm not a good memorizer. So I dumped marine biology, and fortunately I was still on this engineering path. And I had a friend then who was a few years older than I was, and he was already graduated, working at Hughes Aerospace. You know, he was having the time of his life, and I thought, I want to be him. Well, he happened to be a physicist, and so I picked up physics as my major. And I ended up being really good at math and physics. And so that worked well for me. And then when I graduated, I got into, my profession, and I was around for a couple of years, and I started looking to see who's successful in this business. And it was the managers who were getting paid, who were being successful. So I said, I want to be that. So I got to be really good at mimicking what other people were. But it took some time for me to figure out, who am I? What are my gifts? What are the things that make me who I am? And I started to realize that my gifts really had more to do with, some of the things that I was using. I'm good analytically, but it's more like the thing that I happen to have studied and am good at. But what really touches my heart is being with people, is caring about people. And that job wasn't really doing it for me. And so, when I started being more authentic to myself, that's when I found this philosophy. That's when I found this teaching. That's when I became a practitioner like Kelly. And then I became a minister. And so you might be sitting there going, well, how do I know what my gifts are? There's a lot of I got a picture here of Christmas gifts, right? And I've got 3 suggestions for ways for you to understand what your gifts are a little bit. The first suggestion is to think about, what are your interests and passions? What is it that you are naturally, intrinsically interested in? Another one is, what makes the time fly by? Chris, I bet you when you're composing music, playing music, you lose track of time, don't you? Yeah. What is it that when you're doing it, time just flies by? You don't really recognize. All of a sudden, it's already, 3 in the afternoon, you haven't had breakfast or lunch. And then the third one is, when do you feel like when you do this, you're swimming with the currents of life? Versus how many of us have had jobs where we feel like we're swimming against the current, right? Just paddling, 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 and feeling like I'm getting nowhere. So when we recognize those things, the first step is always awareness in everything in life. That's why it's my capital A word, right? Awareness. Once I'm aware of my gifts, now I can start living from them. I can be the best version of myself. I can be my authentic self. I can show up in the world. And you know what the wonderful thing is when we work in our gifts, when we do the things that are in our gifts, the world comes back and gives us, gifts itself. It gifts itself to us for us showing up authentically. Be who you are first. Worry about the money second. So I have an affirmation for you guys. It's showing up on your screen here. Let's just say it together. I choose to be the best version of myself. Let's say it one more time. I choose to be the best version of myself. So as you go out into your week this week, what I'd like you to remember to try and do a little bit of this. Be more genuinely yourself. And you can do that by understanding your values and your beliefs, by being honest with yourself, and then explore what your gifts are. Think about it. Give it some time to breathe and to live within you. What are my gifts? And as you understand those more and more and more, now you can take actions that are supportive of those gifts and let those gifts live in your life. And of course, many people get confused about what their gifts are because it gets so muddled with what everybody else is. And so if that is true for you, it's okay. All you need to do is just let Spirit guide you. Thank you, and namaste. And so I'd like to invite you to just join me in a little bit of prayer that anchors in these ideas into our lives. I just drop down into that place inside of me that is my authentic self. That place inside of me that some people call our soul. That place inside of me that is the individualized expression of the divine that opens up at my heart level to just know that it knows all that God is, all that Spirit is, all that it represents, all that it creates out of into this world for us to experience and for it to experience as and through us. And so as that is the truth of Spirit, I know it to be the truth of myself. I know it to be the truth of each person here. I know it to be the truth of those of you who are online today. I know absolutely that this life, this power, this presence that God is moving through us. And as us is the love and the peace and the joy, the harmony, the wisdom, intelligence, and clarity that God is. I know that that life that is divine is the truth of us. And as we, as Kelly has reminded us, are each individual like snowflakes. 6 points, 3 points, 12 points, it doesn't matter. But what it does mean is that we are all created out of that image and likeness that God is at the very core of our beingness. And so it's from that place of knowingness that I speak my word as the truth of me, of you, of all people, that this life divine moving through us and as us as love is moving and having its way with us. It's showing up in every relationship, including the relationship that we have with ourselves. This love that God is, it guides us to know more fully who and what we are. It shows us our gifts, those infinite jewels that are all our own. It shows us how to live through them, from them, as them. I know that the love and the peace that God is the truth of all of our relationships. And so as we recognize this time of creating peace in ourselves in this season of nonviolence, week number 6, I know that we are supported in that by being the peace that God is in this world. And I know absolutely that this life divine is moving through us as we create a larger, more expansive, more free life for ourselves and for those around us. And for knowing that to be true, I just give thanks. And I release this prayer to the law, knowing that it's already fulfilled in the mind that God is. And I say life and God are good and very good. And together we say, and so it is. Amen and amen. And so now's the time for our conscious contributions. And so if you're here in the sanctuary right now, there are offering envelopes in the pews that you can put your offering in. If you put your name on it, we know that it comes from you. If you're online, there are 3 ways to give. We have the first one is to go to the website at ahiah.com/donate. The other is to text the word give to 616-229-2225. And when you do that, it'll send you back a response to put in your credit card information. And the third is just to mail a check here. And so I love to get those checks, especially when people write a love note in there. I really, it makes my day. So however you do that, let's go ahead and virtually take our gift to our heart. And I've got the blessing here on the screen. Let's read it along together. This gift I give is God in action. I send it forth with joy, confidence, and ease. I am blessed by the law of giving and receiving as I now share my gift with life. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So it is. Amen and amen. So thank you. And I'd like to go ahead and ask Tina to come on up. She's going to give us another song.
We could get a little movement going there. Just a closer walk with thee. Granted Spirit, if you please. I'm gonna be daily walking. closer walk, just a closer walk, just a closer walk. Ah, Lord, grant His Spirit if you please. Daily, daily, walking close to Thee. Yeah, yeah, let it be. Oh, dear Lord, let it be. Oh, Lord, let it be. Dear Lord, let it be.
Yes, yes, yes. Let it be. Oh, I see a whole passel of kids back there. Let's go ahead and invite them up. Chris, we got a tune for them? All right.
Good morning. First, I want to thank our volunteers because I always forget to do that. Rachel, Matthias, Malachi. Where is Malachi? Oh, there he is. We couldn't do it without him. And Susan Rios, who stands in the back, who does a wonderful job. Also, our next camp fundraiser will be next Sunday, and we're going to have a baked potato bar. So we're looking forward to that. And again, as always, we appreciate all your help. And I have a feeling that we might have a couple of more new kids going to camp in the summer. So we're working on that. So Gracie's going to tell you what we talked about today. What did we talk about today?
We talked about ideas and curiosity.
And where do our ideas come from?
Our ideas come from our heart and the inner God inside of us.
Yes.
Beautifully said. Thank you. And the teens, I think we have two teen speakers who are going to tell you what they talked about.
Today in teen group, we talked about what it would be like if we knew everything in the world. And if that was a good or a bad thing.
We also talked about how anything is possible, and we like said something that we were nervous about coming up in like any time, and we all like gave each other positive like thoughts.
Since we have some new friends, we'll just really quick go down the line and say your name and your age. We'll just do a quick introduction.
Oh, yeah.
You're first.
I'm Lyra and I'm 6. I'm Gracie and I'm 11.
I'm Sophia and I'm 13. I'm turning 14 soon. I'm Phoebe and I'm 14.
I'm Harper and I'm 7.
I'm Carl. I'm just kidding. I'm Perry. I'm Perry. I'm 14.
I'm Gavin, I'm 14. I'm Vincent, I'm 13.
I'm Alex, I'm 13.
I'm Ray, I'm 15.
I'm Moses, I'm 17.
I'm Matthias, and I'm 20.
All right. Let's say thank you to our kids. And so we do, absolutely, we have that, it's called Hot Potatoes Loaded with Love. I just love that title. I do. So come to be loaded up with love next week. We're going to have lots and lots of hot potatoes. And after that, so we'll be well fed. Reverend Carol Lotz, who's spoken and sung here several times, is going to be here next week doing a workshop. She's a chaplain, and what she's going to be doing is she's going to be teaching us some of the things that she teaches people that she knows in the hospital during her job who are really experiencing a traumatic moment in their life. And she teaches them how to get well, how to get better, what it is that we can do to support our own life. And so next week from 1 to 3, we'll have the loaded potatoes right after service. We'll start the workshop at 1 o'clock. And we have, gosh, I'm thinking of those loaded potatoes. It's making me hungry. We've got the QR code here if you want to sign up for the workshop. We would love to know how many people are coming. And then the board has put together a nominating committee. We have Ruby, Frederick, Myrna, Deborah, and myself. I think we're all here today. Today, though, is the very last day to apply. If you're interested in being on the board, there's a process. You apply, and then you're interviewed, and then the nominating committee makes a recommendation to the board. The board makes a recommendation to the annual meeting. So if you're interested, today's the day. If you want to talk to me, you have to have been a member of Ahiah, an official member for at least a year in order to be on the board. And there's some other requirements. I can talk to you, or you can go to the QR code, and it'll take you to our webpage that explains it all. And then just put on your calendar for next month, Reverend Mike is doing another cybersecurity workshop. That was his profession before he refired into more full-time ministry and work. And so, he has lots and lots and lots of tips for us on how to be safe in the cyberspace. So let's see what else we got here. Oh, and the annual meeting, put that on your calendar. It's April 2nd. We'll be talking about where we've been, where we're going. We'll be talking about finances because that's important for us to know. We'll be electing board members. And I'll be telling you who has been nominated in a week or two. I'll be letting you know that. But go ahead and put on your calendar April 2nd as the date. You have to be a member in order to vote. If you're not a member and you want to be a member, now's the time to let me know so we can get your membership papers into the board. They have to approve it. And that way you can vote. But everyone is welcome at the annual meeting, whether you're a member or not. We would love for you to understand and know more about our community and what we're doing here. I want to remind you that each week we have the Tuesday book study and we have the Wednesday healing service. Both of those are on Zoom. You can go to ahiah.com/virtual for the Zoom link. And then today, can our practitioners stand up for a second? I know we have Jackie, we have Myrna, we have Kelly, we have Chris. Frederick's over here in the sound room. And of course, I'm still a practitioner. As a minister, I have to be a practitioner first, right? So we're all would love to pray with you. And then we also have a ministry of prayer that is online. So if you want to do that online, only ministers and practitioners ever see those prayer requests. We also have paper prayer requests that are sitting in the pews. You can fill one out and put it into the prayer request drop box right back behind that door over there. And then we also have Dial a Prayer. We put up a new Dial a Prayer that's got a reading and a prayer in there. So if you ever need a lift me up, we put a new one in every week. And so let's go ahead and do our benediction. And then after that, there's going to be birthday cake for somebody. Somebody's. There's at least two people. And maybe Nancy Johnson will have gotten out of her PJs and come down. I don't know. But we'll be having that in the fellowship hall, as well as there's always coffee in the fellowship hall. So come do that with us after we. Oh, and we also have the Zoom set up in the fellowship hall. So once we're all in there, I'll plug that in. And we can say hi to anybody who wants to stick around that's online right now on Zoom. So the benediction is here. Let's read it together. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all of my affairs. I accept it. I am it, and I share it, just the way it appears and just the way it appears not. Thank you, life. Amen and amen. I love you guys. I'll love to see you in the fellowship hall afterwards. And if you're online, I'll see you on Zoom in a few minutes. And otherwise, I will see you next week. Thank you, and namaste.